Hi everyone, McBeard here, back with another travel vlog. I am here in Europe, in Poland, and we are here for the Gamescom GWENT Tournament Spectacular, which will be gracing the screens of Twitch in but a day. We'll be broadcasting the tournament 25th and 26th of August, and it'll be a best of 8. 7 players already announced. The wild card, I believe, is being decided today. No bias, but it's we know Vaish is in there, and I've been talking to Vaish for a couple months, so good luck to all the participants, but I think it'd be really great to see Vaish make it, and just as a tournament winner, I think that's, it's something that I'll be following for sure. I'm in the audience like you guys. I want to know what happens, but it was pretty good. So I had a flight on Tuesday night. My flight left at 11 p.m. on Tuesday. I arrived at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon yesterday, and it was good. It was a good flight, totally fine. Like flying with Polish Airlines, which is a weird thing to say that I have flown with them enough to actually prefer them, but I have been traveling a lot lately, and I can say that Polish Airlines, very good. I slept for most of the flight, and then I got in, and I slept some more, and then I woke up from a nap, and I got a message from Merchant saying that he had arrived as well. So Merchant and I got together in the lobby looking for some food. It was later on in the evening at this point, 9 o'clock or so. And while we're deciding what to do, who shows up? Mega Mogwai. So now the three of us are together in the lobby, and time to get some food. So we talked a lot last night. We talked a lot about, a lot of the news that's been coming out on, a lot of the leaks have been happening on Reddit, but Twitter as well counts, and people are chatting in Discord. A lot of big changes coming to GWENT, and there is a lot to talk about right now, which is, I'm traveling, so I'm limited to the videos I can make here. But believe me, there is some stuff to say about some of these card changes, some stuff to say about the big changes, the changes to resilience, the changes to golds being vulnerable. And while these are just previews that we're seeing from Gamescom and not final builds or anything like that, it is safe to say that these are decisions that are being made with purpose to the game of GWENT, and these are some big changes. The resilience change, not so surprising. Honestly, that's very good for the game. I don't know, really, you don't need to think about that one for too long to be okay with it. And I think that, it is a core game, it's a kind of a core gameplay mechanic that's in GWENT, and I think that it's still there. It's just the carryover of strength. I think that's totally fine. I think that no one's really going to miss it. I think people are going to find other ways to win without carrying over like 50 or 60 points in dwarf strength, raw dwarf potential. I think that we can probably be okay with that being gone. So there's that. But the gold change is a big one. The gold change is a big head scratcher, a big I don't know what I'm feeling anymore kind of change. And I am in no way going to say that this is a bad change. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that it's the change that GWENT needs either. I'm going to say that it's been one way for a very long time, and the change it's an unsettling change. It's a change that we need time to understand and experience, and I think that discussing it without playing it is going to open up all sorts of boxes of emotions, I think. And it's fine. You want to understand it, but it will really fundamentally change a lot of the stuff of the game. And you're going to have to unlearn a lot of stuff about gold cards. But isn't it not true that the cards will basically just be like every other card in the game? Once it hits the board, it's susceptible to effects, and gold cards will be strong based on what they do for you when you play them, or those are the ones that are going to be really, really good. The ones that have persistent effects, like playing Yennefer Conjure and knowing that Yennefer Conjure, except outside of a Diamond Shackles, is going to be there for the rest of the round. That's just not a thing anymore. So how does that make me feel? How does that make you feel? Is it okay I mean, when you put Yennefer Conjurer in your deck and you play Yennefer Conjurer, you are happy to draw her in the first round because it's like, oh man, I get to play Yennefer Conjurer and have my opponent struggle against this for the entire round, and I'm probably going to win or they're going to overcommit. It's good. It's good. So that's not going to happen anymore. On the same hand, you won't have that played against you. You won't be instilled with the same feeling of dread because you will have the option to remove it. What people I think are not understanding or thinking about is when you put more high priority removal targets in the game, they're not adding them to the game. They're just making the gold cards able to be removed. So when you put more removal targets in the game, it actually makes it so a lot of cards will gain strength because your opponent can only remove so much. It's kind of like how Weather is, where if you have 5 Weathers in your deck, Dagon, if your opponent can clear 3 of them, well, that slows you down. But eventually you'll get a Weather that sticks, and that Weather, the attrition of that Weather may be actually what helps you win that round / game. And this is a similar thing where if you stack your deck full of cards, like one of the reasons Okvist is tricky to make work because your opponent can just remove it. A lot of gold cards are going to be like that now, I guess. I mean, I think that none of them are going to be as easy to remove as Okvist that I've seen. But I guess I have to check if Okvist is the same. But really, like, when you give your opponent more targets to remove, like Okvist becomes safer, or Okvist makes your gold card safer because people are going to remove Okvist. People are going to remove, the bronzes that tick over time. Right now we're trying to remove War Longships. We're trying to take care of Mangonels. We don't want Arrakis Behemoth sticking around. That's where our removal is going. Now your opponent might have 4 additional cards that need to be taken care of that you have the opportunity to take care of. You're not just going to let your opponent drop Yenkon and you're just going to ignore it because that's just how it was. So I think that removal is going to go way up. I think like stuff like Alzur's Thunderstock is going to go way up. Cards that just ping for large amounts of damage, like kind of like how Black Infantry Arbalest is right now, and other ping cards, their value is going to go up. Triss, Vanilla Triss, her value goes up, and it's going to fundamentally change the game to such a large degree that it's kind of hard for me to really put it on anything. I'm going to be there with you, experimenting and experiencing the biggest patch that Gwent has ever received. And I was talking to the guys yesterday, and I was saying, I was actually saying this on Discord the other day too. When Nilfgaard was released, when they released a new faction into the game, when Nilfgaard was released, I thought that was going to be the biggest patch Gwent would ever get in the closed beta. The Nilfgaard patch is probably the second smallest patch that we've ever gotten. The smaller one being the one that introduced like Kayran and Kira Metz and King of Beggars and those cards. Those are like the first influx of new cards and ranked play. That was a pretty big patch at the time. Nilfgaard was a massive patch, but then the patches after that just like changes upon changes. The game is evolving to at a rapid state, and it's the beta. That's what we're expecting. Maybe this is more than we were expecting. We've had the game in some very interesting, almost stable states. I think the end of closed beta was a very good state. It just needed some tweaks, but then things changed. Weather changed completely. Cards changed completely. And then now, as we approach Gamescom and we approach the sunset of this meta, one meta that I think that I've been less fond about, doing the grind for rank has been difficult because the only decks that I have really felt like close to me, decks that have really clicked with me, are Control Scoia'tael with Scorch, and Aridin with Frost. I think those are the only ones that I've really, really liked. The rest of the decks, like the really like the really strong, like Dagon and Dwarfs and some of the Skellige decks, like I just can't like get them to click. I don't like them as much, and I think I'm not alone. Sometimes you just have a deck that's just hot fire and you just want to play it all the time and you're good. like in closed beta when I was pushing for top rank, I had a full test deck that was not anybody's top pick, but I loved that deck and I loved the matchups between matching up against Consume Dagon at the time and Control Bruverhoog, which were the best decks at the time. I loved that deck. And I'm thinking actually with the change, like what we've seen from Stennis and John Natalis, I think that deck flavor might actually come back. And I'm super excited to play Northern Realms. I think more so than any other faction, I'm super excited to play Northern Realms right now. But there's really like so much to talk about. So much to talk about. And I only have so much time with you, my babies. But I think the most important thing is that just keep discussing the changes, keep discussing them, and in time we will be able to see it. And if there's a problem with anything, we need to be very be tempered with our responses and give great feedback and be the best beta testers CD Projekt Red knows we are. And we'll have the greatest game, one of the greatest games ever made. Because I really do think, Gwent has been a life-changing game for me, and I think a lot of people are really experiencing a card game like nothing else. And I think that, the potential for Gwent is so good. We're going to see the tournament, the big tournament that's going to be the end of an era here. And I just got a message from Merchant on Twitter. It's time for breakfast. So I'm going to set this baby to upload, and I'll just give you a quick tour. My bed's unmade and it's gross. So I mean, this is the hotel room here. We are here at the Radisson Hotel. It's a nice hotel. It's a good size hotel. The sun's shining in my face right now.